Welcome to the Balanced Hustle podcast. I'm your host, Lindsay Sherman, fitness coach for burnt out perfectionist. If you're ready to break free from overwhelm, simplify your nutrition, and make fitness finally work for you instead of against you, you're in the right place. Each week, we'll dive into easy strategies to balance your health with your busy life. Let's hustle for balance, not burnout. Grab a seat and let's dive in. Hello, welcome back to the podcast. I am a little late recording this week's episode. Typically, I usually record on Saturdays, but I've moved my schedule around, so I'm recording during the week. Not that it matters to you either way when I record, but I did put off recording on Saturday also because I have been dealing with awful allergies. So I don't know if anyone else gets these terrible fall allergies where you are just sneezing like every 10 seconds. I don't know what I'm allergic to. I don't care to know. I just want to stop sneezing. And so if I sound a little bit stuffed up, that is the reason on this podcast today. And probably for the next few months, if we're going to be honest. That's just how things are. But today we are jumping into our third podcast, and I wanted to talk about home gyms versus going to a commercial gym, and more specifically the pros and cons of a home gym versus going to a commercial gym. If you are super busy, maybe if you are super stressed out, you have a lot going on, but you know that it's important to still get the gym into your routine. And for me, working out, going to the gym, the reason why it's a big part of my routine more than the physical change that I'm looking to achieve is the mental effects that it has. So for me, working out greatly helps me mentally, helps me feel less stressed, gives me that boost that I need, gives me that energy boost. It's like my stress coping mechanism. So very important to keep that in my life. And I know there's a lot of other people out there, other women out there who feel the same way. Or maybe if you haven't gotten into working out consistently yet, you're hoping that to feel the same way and have those effects, right? But a big decision that you have to make when you start working out is, am I going to set up a home gym? Am I going to possibly invest money in equipment for my home if I don't have any already? Can I make do with what I have? Or should I be going to a commercial gym? And that's a commitment too, because we're spending money on a gym membership, right? So making those decisions. So today I just want to give you kind of a rundown, pros, cons. There is no one right answer, one way or another, but kind of brainstorming the pros and cons and how you feel yourself personally about, which one might be better for you. And you could even do a combination of the both, right? So I've definitely done that before. I have had all types of gym situations in the last 8 years, basically since I was 16. 15 or 16 was when I started working out. And obviously at that time I was living at my parents' house. So I started working out in just a corner of my bedroom. I had a yoga mat. I had some 5-pound dumbbells. And I think I had a kettlebell. I didn't know what to do with it. That's for sure. But I had like a little weight set up right in the corner of my room. And then as I started to get more into fitness and lifting and things like that, I moved to my parents' basement. Now, my parents' basement is not a finished basement. It is, at the time, originally it was a dirt floor, and then they ended up getting concrete poured down there. So it was concrete floor, but then they had like stone walls, if you've ever been in a basement like that. So it was not finished by any means, and the ceilings were super low too. So if you know me, I'm about 5'7", 5'8", and there were definitely things like I could not do overhead presses, anything like that, because I was gonna hit the ceiling. So it was there were challenges with it, but I loved it because I got this little corner of the basement. It was my own space where I could kind of go away from everything else. It also made more space in my bedroom as I started working out more. And, my parents bought us a weight bench and things like that. Us meaning my brother and I, although I think I used it definitely way more than he did. But, so I had that set up down there. So I had that down there for a while and I really liked it. I put shower curtains up on the walls to hide the stone walls to try and make it more aesthetic looking. And it worked. It worked for a while. Up until one day when I came down to work out and there was a snake curled up in my basket where I forget exactly how it was now, but I had a basket that I put yoga mats in, and I think it was curled up on the yoga mat. And I came down and I just seen the snake curled up on the yoga mat and I screamed. I ran upstairs. My dad came down to take care of it, and that kind of turned me off from the unfinished basement gym. I did work out there I think I still kept working out there for a little while just because I had to. I was so stressed being a junior in high school. I had AP, lots of AP classes. If you know what that is, it's advanced placement. It gets you credit for college, basically. So you're taking college credits in high school. So I was super stressed out, basically, because I was taking as many of those as I could have, like AP Calculus, AP Lit, AP Bio, all the ones that I could fit in my schedule, I was taking because I was going to save money on college, right? So I was stressed out anyway, and I used the gym as my stress reliever, even with the snake. I hate snakes, but even we made it work. Every time I came down, I looked around real carefully. I was paranoid basically the whole time, but it worked out anyway. So that was what I did in high school. And then when I went to college, I always had a yoga mat in my room. I would do yoga. I would do YouTube workouts in there. I would use the college gym, things like that. And I could tell you the story of all of my, home gym setups. We lived in a rental where I had a home gym. And now, fast forward, we live in our current house that we own. And I've done a mixture of both. So I've gone to the gym and I've worked out at home. I've sometimes, done both in the same week. For some months, I am hooked on the gym. I'm only going to the gym. And then some months I'm just want to hibernate and stay at home. But it definitely, you have to plan your workout schedule around that because when I go to the gym, I have a lot more equipment than I do at home, obviously. So speaking of that, let's just start getting into our pros and cons. And, you don't need to hear about every home gym setup I've ever had because I've had a lot. And I've also been to multiple gyms too. So over the years, I've had my college gym and then I've been to, I want to say 3 or 4 gyms around where I live now, trying them out. So I've, kind of experienced both ends of it in multiple ways. But let's just get into some of the pros and cons, especially if you're super busy, like a lot of the women that I talk to, because maybe this will help you brainstorm, weigh out your options, and just kind of get the ball rolling, thinking about what you want to do. And maybe there's some pros you haven't thought of, or maybe some cons, and just kind of help you feel that out. So let's start with having a home gym, right? So the pros. Number 1 is convenience. No commute, right? No commute means you can just work out whenever you have free time, even if it's short. You don't have to spend that time driving to the gym. And I actually will tell you one more home gym story real quick because I'm actually going back to being in a home gym full time. I am taking a break, ending my gym membership currently because of this reason, convenience. So My gym, the one that I love going to, is currently about half an hour away from my house. So I've recently just reset up for the third time this year my home gym situation in my house, and it wasn't working in my office. If you follow me on Instagram, I had my gym in my office and it was not working. So I actually just moved it into where my living room was, which sounds like an odd choice. And it kind of is, but my house has sort of two living rooms. There's like a smaller den that we were just using as like a sitting room, that we didn't have the TV in or anything. And then we have a bigger living room. And I actually swapped those rooms. We make better use of the den now anyway, and I have a larger home gym. So I will be sharing some things about that on Instagram too if you want to see it soon. Some of my weights are coming this week. So I've invested in some new weights. Nothing crazy. I don't have cable machines or anything like that, but I'll show you guys that on Instagram to save some time here. But my number one reason right now in this stage of my life was the convenience factor, because we are just so busy right now, my husband and I. We've bought some rental properties, so we're fixing up those. We've, obviously got the dogs to think about. I don't like to leave the dogs. I have a full-time job on top of this, so I don't like to leave them for possibly 10 hours a day. Obviously my husband can come home, let them out, but it's just, I want to be home with them too. And driving half an hour to the gym every day was cutting an hour. That's an hour into driving, as well as an hour and a half into working out. So that could turn into 3 hours some days, after work or on the weekend. And that was a sacrifice that I decided, that I've been doing for a while. It was important to me, but at this stage of my life, that the kind of cost outweighs the benefit of the convenience and time saving. So I won't talk that long about every bullet point, but again, the convenience. And then the second one I was going to say was the time saving. So in addition to not having to drive to the gym, you also don't have to wait for equipment when you're at the gym. So it really depends on how busy your gym is, how much equipment they have. This may really not be an issue for you, but if you go to a gym that's super busy, you obviously have to wait for certain equipment, and if you have a workout plan, as you should, you obviously have pieces of equipment that you plan on using. And it's not just you go in there and you do a random workout. You have things that you need to do to stick to your workout plan. So that could be a con also, or a pro of having a home gym, a con of going to a commercial gym. Number 3, having a home gym can be more cost effective. Obviously, if you don't have a gym membership, you're not paying that monthly fee. However, this kind of depends too on what kind of home gym setup you want to create and the equipment that you already have. So for me, I already had some equipment, but because I'm moving from a commercial gym back to a home gym, I wanted to have a little bit more and a little bit better stuff, improve some of the stuff that I had. So I had to invest some money into this, right? So it really depends. Now, if you are a girl who wants to get your workout on with a yoga mat, some dumbbells, and call it a day, that's cool. That's not a lot of investment. If you are someone who is squatting, deadlifting, bench pressing, and you need a bench, you need a bar, weight plates, if there's any other type of equipment that you really like, things like that, maybe you want a bike at home, that's obviously going to up the cost too. You can make these things cheaper. You can find things used, Facebook Marketplace. I mean, if you need a bike, go on Facebook Marketplace because people are selling brand new, never used bikes on there for like $50, at least in my area. So you can find ways to kind of get creative and cut those costs. And with this, there would be an initial investment if you want more of that equipment, but it's a one-time investment, at least until you break something or, that's going to be a very, very long time and you're going to have to be very rough on your equipment. most of this gym equipment can last you forever, right? So it's a one-time investment versus that monthly investment. So you can look at what your monthly membership is for a gym in your area. I've seen gyms range from $20 a month to $60, $70, possibly even more if you live in an area where I know there's gyms that are super crazy price per month. Depends where you live. I live in a rural town. So the highest gym I've really seen around me is about $60, $70 a month. So you can kind of do the math, weigh those options if cost is your number one thing, right, over everything. So you kind of have to decide which of these factors is most important to you. Maybe write out a list yourself, a pro-con list, and decide, is it time that I'm looking for more of? Is it the cost that's most important to me? Is it the convenience? Weigh those things, and it's like I said, there's no right answer for anybody. It's all very, very personal based on you. And like I've said, I've done both. I've had times in my life where I've flip-flopped back and forth, even in the same week. So totally up to you. Weighing the next pro of a home gym is privacy. So if you don't really like to work out with people around you, if you like to work out in a sports bra and shorts and you don't feel comfortable wearing that in the gym, that's a huge pro of having a home gym too, is just the privacy. Especially, if you are trying new things, it can be helpful to have other people around to help you out in a commercial gym. If you have a trainer, like I help my clients all the time with form checks, things like that when they are on their own. So all depends on your, level of being comfortable, but privacy can be a huge thing because there's not that gym anxiety that comes with going to a gym too and being around a bunch of other people, a bunch of new people most of the time. So that is another pro of having a home gym. Okay, just had to pause to sneeze. Like I said, I cannot stop sneezing right now. This allergy season is crazy, but if that's why I sound stuffy, that is why. Okay, moving into the next couple pros, real quick. No closing hours. Home gym is always open, baby. So I've been to gyms where their hours, sometimes the hours they post online, are not the same when you show up at that door. Now, most gyms are really, really good about sticking with their hours. But again, like even on holidays, things like that, they're not going to be open. Some gyms are open 24/7, some are not. So if you like to work out, if you don't want to have to pay attention to the hours, that's another huge pro of having a home gym. Okay, let's just skim over the cons real quick. Some of these I've already touched on with the pros. Again, limited equipment. So obviously home gym, if you really like having something like a cable machine, a leg press, a squat rack, if you can't fit that in your house or can't afford one, obviously you're going to have limited equipment. I will say though, you can get a good workout on with no equipment at all. It's just your personal preference on what you like to do, the variety that you like to have. So obviously that is a con when it comes to having a home gym too. There's definitely things that I am going to miss from being in a commercial gym. Not saying I'll never go back to a commercial gym, but for this stage of my life, I'll be home. I can't fit a cable machine in my house. At least I haven't tried. I suppose anything's possible, but, I probably won't. Things like that. So that's con. Number 2, space. So obviously you want to have the right amount of space. You're going to have to sacrifice at least a little bit of space in your home for this home gym. So some of us are fortunate enough to have a whole room, a whole spare bedroom, a basement, something like that we can sacrifice. Like I said, we kind of have 2 living rooms. Our house is not big by any means. We have, not a super huge house, but the way our house is set up, we kind of have those 2 living rooms. But I had to sacrifice, one of those spaces that would otherwise be like a common gathering room, family room. When we have company, they're gonna have, instead of 2 living rooms to kind of hang out in, one of them's gonna be a gym. But we don't have company often, so that was a sacrifice I was willing to make, right? We can still host people, but like if we had a huge holiday, it's just less space for them, right? So you have to understand what sacrifices you're willing to make, but that's definitely one, is just making space for something like that. Now, again, if you don't want or need a lot of equipment, you really only need the space of a yoga mat, and you can obviously store that away. In our rental that we used to live in, that was super tiny. I used to just have a yoga mat and some dumbbells in the living room. Just put them in the corner of the living room, got them out, and then worked out, moved the coffee table aside and worked out in there when it was time to work out. So you can definitely make it work too. Just consider what you want, right? And what you have available to you. Another con of working out at home is lack of a social environment. So if you are a social butterfly, you love going to the gym, you have friends at the gym. I know I've got some friends at the gym I'm going to miss, at least while I'm not going there. That could be a con for you. Now, if you are kind of a hermit and you like to just hibernate and be your own, do your own thing, then this may be something you don't even care about, right? I tend to be more of an introvert myself. However, I have made friends at the gym that I do like seeing when I go there. But that's another con of being at home. You don't have that social interaction. And also if you like doing classes, right? So one of the things I used to do a lot was a lot of classes. So that's another very social thing that you wouldn't have if you go to a home gym. Now, some gyms do allow you to just come in for a class. Some gyms you have to be a member to go to the classes, but some you can just pay by class and just come in for just a class, and you could totally make that work too. So that's another option if you wanted to primarily work out at home but go to like a class once or twice a month or even once a week. You could totally do that too if your gym allowed that. And then the biggest con I think of having a home gym is the distractions. So obviously home can be full of distractions. If you've got dogs or kids that want to jump on you while you're working out, if you've got a pile of laundry in the corner that you can see, those things can be distracting. I would encourage, if you could, letting other people in your household know, like, hey, this is the time for me. I need half an hour. I need 45 minutes to just be left alone to work out. And maybe if you've got a husband and kids, he can take the kids, he can do something with them. They can play a game, I don't know. I don't have kids. So they could do something. Although sometimes I know from other people in my family that can be impossible, and you're going to have kids jumping on you no matter what. So just know yourself. Can you push through that? Can you still get a good workout in? Can you make a plan to have less distraction? Shove the laundry basket in another room while you work out. Not all your laundry has to be done for you to work out, right? If you were at the gym, you wouldn't be seeing these things. You wouldn't be thinking about them. That is one pro being in the gym, is you can just zone in. So understanding that going into it, it's totally doable. Just understanding that and thinking of how you are going to cope with that ahead of time makes a big difference. So let's talk about commercial gyms. So we have already a little bit. I'm going to try to make it not redundant, because I've obviously pro-con list can be redundant, right? Because we're going on the pros and cons of each. I kind of hit on them as I go. But we'll just quickly cover commercial gym, since I've mainly focused on home gyms, and just go over the pros and cons there, see if there's anything that I missed on my list here. So, again, commercial gym, pro, variety of equipment. We've talked about that. And 2 is a structured environment. So, Again, you have less distractions. You have a clear time for working out. If you're going to a class, that could be really helpful because, again, it's like, okay, I'm taking this class from 5 to 5:30. Like, that is my time to focus. I'm not thinking about anything else. I have an instructor leading me through a workout, and that also helps you push yourself, right? And then with that, trainers at the gym. So gyms, a lot of the time have personal trainers that you can utilize. If you want an in-person trainer, I obviously coach online. I've done both. So it's all personal preference. If you want to use a trainer at the gym, that can be super helpful too. Let's see. So that we've got that. Social interaction, we already talked about, and fewer distractions. Again, it's going to be kind of redundant because I've gone through some of this. The cons of going to a commercial gym, again, time consuming, just driving there, maybe waiting for the equipment, crowds. Yeah, so gyms, like I said, can be super busy at certain times. You can find times that are not like the peak hours. At my gym personally, it's usually, I find that the peak hours are usually like 5:30 at night because everyone's getting out of work. And for some reason, at least at my gym, it's like 9 in the morning. And you would think everyone would be at work. And at first I thought, oh, all these people are retired, right? No, there's a lot of people like that were my age. I'm in my 20s that were there at 9 in the morning. I don't know why. Maybe they work night shift. It was confusing to me too. I was able to go, I had like a day off during the week and I've been able to do that a couple times. And don't go at 9 in the morning. Don't go between 9 and 1 unless you have to. If you have to, you can definitely learn how to make it work. You can get a system going. I know I've worked out a lot at like 5:30 at night and it is so busy. But again, that depends on your gym. And you can get a system going for sure to make it work for you. But those are just things to keep in mind. I find that 5:30 in the morning is an excellent time though, because a lot of people don't have the discipline to wake up that early to work out. There are a lot of lovely retired people those are some of my favorite people to see at the gym. They're there, at least at my gym, every morning at 5:30. And like I've seen them like swapping vegetables with each other, and they share like gardening hacks and tricks. They probably don't call them hacks. I think that's more of like a Gen Z millennial term, but gardening tricks of the trade and things like that, and that's super cute. So I love that. So again, social interaction, if you love those things, if that's important to you, commercial gym might be the way to go. But let's see, last con, limited hours, and the potential for discomfort. Obviously, you have to just get used to going and meeting new people and getting comfortable in the environment, learning where things are. There's always kind of a hump to get over when you first start, but it's totally doable. So that's kind of, let's see. Oh, and the last con would be membership cost, obviously. But also depends, like I said, on if you are going to be investing in equipment for your gym or not, and how much that kind of outweighs the monthly membership cost. And obviously, you could pay for membership for 3 years or invest in equipment that will last you forever, and they could cost the same. Really, really depends on your situation. Again, there's no right or wrong. I'm just hoping that this podcast kind of helped you brainstorm and think of some ideas. If you're thinking of a home gym, DM me on Instagram, because I love like rearranging furniture, setting things up. I would love to help you out with that just for fun. So send me a DM on Instagram. My Instagram is let me say my name correctly. My Instagram is Lindsay Sherman _fitness. Lindsay with an SEY. Lindsay Sherman _fitness. DM me and send me, like, if you've got like a spare bedroom or a basement or something and you're looking to set that up for a home gym. Maybe you want to know like what kind of equipment you should get. Tell me your goals. I would love to help you out. I love that kind of stuff. And then on the other hand, if you are looking at going to a gym, send me any questions that you have. I've actually made my one-on-one clients, they get a small plug for my one-on-one, but they get a course hub. And one of the courses in that hub is gym etiquette. So like all the things that I want you to know going into the gym that like people just don't talk about, like the unwritten rules of the gym. So if you are looking at going to the gym and if you're new to it, or even just going to a new gym, even if you have a gym you already go to, but maybe you want to try one closer to home or a smaller or bigger one or something like that, it's always an adjustment. So DM me any questions you have about that too. I would love to help you out with that. Just, as a little gift to you, a little fun for me, because I love talking about both home gyms and commercial gyms. They both have so many great pros, and then you just have to outweigh the cons and what works for you and your life. So thank you for joining me on this podcast. I hope that it was helpful for you today, and I'm looking forward to talking to you in the next one. Okay, I'll talk soon.